Hello friends, and welcome to today's Manipura chakra or solar plexus chakra. Our solar plexus, it is located in our upper abdomen just above the navel, and it is associated with our digestive system. So when this chakra is balanced, we feel strength, self-confidence, self-worth. Imbalances may show up as a lack of self-esteem and even being overly competitive. So today's practice will take us through a bunch of asanas that really awaken that solar plexus and eventually take us to our apex pose, which I'm really excited about, crow pose. So crow pose, you might think, oh, that's just an arm balance, but I really think it encompasses the solar plexus. It takes digging deep into our core. So grab your mat, you'll need 2 blocks, and I'll see you on the mat.
Find an easy seated position on your mat and rest your hands on your knees. Relax the shoulders back and down with the spine naturally aligned. Close your eyes and take several natural breaths. Become aware of a familiar old friend always with you, always present, your breath. When our third chakra is balanced, we find natural harmony between our own needs and our ability to serve the community. When it is out of balance, we may experience a lack of personal power. Create a feeling of strength here and recall a time when you were strong. This could be in recent events or in your past. Perhaps you stuck up for yourself or for someone else. Maybe you got something done even though you wanted to quit. And let these ideas become a felt sense of strength. Use your breath to open to the sense of this felt strength. Stay with it. Make a sanctuary for it in your mind. And know you can always return to this experience if ever your attention wanders throughout the practice. When you are ready, open your eyes and return back into your body on the mat. Let's begin to warm up our solar plexus region. Uncross your legs and put them out in front of you, knees bent. Feel both sit bones evenly weighted, and bring both hands out in front of you, palms facing up. Plug the shoulders into their sockets like a key in a lock. Bring your belly button to your spine to engage your core. Maintain that as you lean back into the cosmic headrest and lift both legs up parallel to the mat. Boat pose. A great way to get our solar plexus region warmed and fired up. Inhale, engage the core. Exhale, keep the chest lifted and lengthen along the spine. Dig deep into your core and find that inner strength and willpower. Willpower can take all forms and shapes, like confidence and even stillness. Breathe into the back body of the pose and create stillness from the inside out. Hold it strong for one more breath. Inhale, release, and come to all fours in a tabletop position. In your tabletop position, set the foundation for cat and cow, and breathe here through a few cat and cows. Inhale brings you into cow. Exhale pushes you into cat. Going to and from with your breath, cat and cow. And to get ready for crow pose, we will start off with a wrist warm-up that is my go-to for crow pose preparation. So come into a neutral spine, and with both hands, turn your fingers out toward the outer edges of your mat. And if this is enough for you, then stay here. Rinse your spine with a couple of cat and cows. Now, if your body allows, rotate your fingers fully around so your wrists are shining forward and your fingers are radiating out towards your knees. Remember, you are the teacher. These are only suggestions, not have-tos. Lovingly grip your fingers into the mat. And with your exhale, push your hands into the mat and around your back body and tuck your chin toward the chest. Draw those shoulder blades apart from each other as you hug your navel toward your spine. Really puff out your kidneys. Slightly curl your tailbone toward the floor and place the spinal position into your muscle memory to recall when you practice crow pose later on. Hold for a few more deep breaths. Feel that strong core activation and the deep release in your wrists and forearms. Release the spine, release the hands, and sit your hips back towards your heels. Give your wrists a break and roll them out. Come into a downward facing dog. And in your downward facing dog, inhale to pull yourself forward into plank until your shoulders are slightly past the creases of your wrists. Activate your core here as if you're cinching your waistline and tightening up a corset. Exhale to bend your elbows and lower your torso toward the floor. Stop at whatever point you still feel strong enough to press back up into plank without arching your back. Don't let your head drop. In this lowered plank, recall that event from the beginning of class when you were strong. Use that to press back up into plank. Nice. Now exhale, lower down all the way to the floor. Inhale, lift up your heart into cobra. Exhale, push into a child's pose and roll out your wrists. From your child's pose, create a downward facing dog. And in your downward facing dog, bring your feet together, ankles to touch. Inhale, lift the right leg up towards the ceiling in a three-legged dog. Bend your knee on track. And exhale, pull yourself forward and bring your knee to nose. Hug the belly button towards the spine. Inhale, push it back out to three-legged dog. Exhale, knee to nose as you round out your back body. Inhale, push it out. Exhale, puff out your kidney as you bring your knee to chest. Inhale, push out. And now exhale, land your right foot just outside of your right hand, both hands inside the knee. Ground your finger pads into the mat and kick out through your back heel and lengthen your entire back body out through the crown of your head. Energetically squeeze your right knee towards your right shoulder. Squeeze your right shoulder towards your right knee, lizard pose. Feel your breath inside. Hear your breath outside. To release the pose, heel toe your front foot towards the middle of the mat and frame the foot with both hands. Come into a lunge pose. Inhale, lift the chest and bring your hands in front of your heart. Exhale, transition into a warrior two. Stack your right knee over ankle. Shine your hips towards the long edge of the sticky mat and spread your arms wide like wings. Take your gaze just past the front of your middle finger. And feel your power and strength in this pose. Exhale, cartwheel your hands to the floor, release the back heel, square the hips, and find a downward facing dog. Inhale brings you to your plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale lifts up into cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Bring your feet together towards the midline between them. Inhale, lift up the left leg to three-legged dog pose. Bend your lifted leg on track. Exhale, pulls you forward and bring knee to nose. Inhale, push out into a three-legged dog pose. Exhale, round the spine and bring knee to nose. Inhale, back to three-legged dog. Exhale, knee to nose. Inhale, push back out. And on the next exhale, bring your left foot just outside of your left hand. Set the foundation for lizard pose. In your lizard pose, lift your back right thigh bone away from the floor. When that back thigh bone stays lifted, it keeps the hips aligned. And when the hips are aligned, we can avoid back pain. So find that midline between your front knee and your left shoulder. Actively squeeze your knee towards your shoulder as you squeeze your shoulder towards the knee. Hold here for 3 deep breaths. And inhale to release and come into a lunge pose. Firmly push out through your back heel and into the balls of the feet. Inhale, lift the chest, hands to heart center, high lunge pose. Exhale, push your arms out into warrior two, left knee stacked over ankle, back heel to the mat, and hips towards the long edge of your sticky mat. Reflect on your breath here. Deep inhale through the nose. Exhale it all through the nose. Inhale to release and come to a mountain pose at the top of your mat. This next pose will help us feel the effects of counterbalance that will be needed when we practice our crow pose later in the practice. So bring your hands to heart center and shift your weight into your right leg to get grounded. Focus your gaze on the floor just in front of you. When you feel stable, lift your left leg back out behind you as you lean your torso forward. Push your heart forward past your toes and bring your torso and leg parallel to the floor. Warrior three. Feel your torso counterweight the weight of your back leg. Inhale to release the back leg and come back to a mountain pose. Bring hands to heart center and grow roots with your left leg. Use your gaze as a source of steadiness. As you inhale, lean forward and kick out the right leg behind you, bringing it parallel to your mat. Warrior three on the second side. Firmly kick out through the back heel as if you were kicking into the wall behind you, and reach your heart forward and out through the crown of your head with equal and opposite energy. Know when you put your heart forward, you can trust to counterbalance the weight of the leg behind you. Inhale to release and come to a mountain pose. Heel toe your feet just wider than your hips and toes pointing to the diagonal of your sticky mat. Bring your hands to heart center and inhale, squat down between your heels. A block or a blanket is a great option here to bring the floor up to you. If this is too much for you, just come into a forward fold. In garland pose, push the elbows into the knees as you squeeze the knees against your elbows. Use this traction to pull your spine up out of your pelvis. Inhale and exhale. Inhale to release and come to your back. Lay on your back and draw both knees up towards your chest. Stretch your arms up toward the sky and face your palms up towards the ceiling as if you were placing your hands on the ceiling above you. And pretend your ceiling is now your yoga mat. Spread your fingers evenly apart and bring your big toes to touch and spread your knees out wide. Hug your knees towards your arms and slide them up towards your armpits as your body will comfortably allow. Keep your hands pressed up towards the ceiling. As you inhale, lift your shoulders and head up from the mat. And like you did in cat pose, draw your shoulder blades apart from each other and really round your back body. Suction your navel towards the spine. Take your gaze up towards your fingers. Deep inhale through the nose. Exhale. Hold for 2 to 3 more breaths. You got it. And inhale, release. Come into a squat on your mat and bring both hands out in front of you, shoulder width apart and arms between your knees. Spread your fingers away from your middle finger and lovingly grip the mat with your finger pads. And just do a quick check here that your wrist creases are parallel to the short edge of your mat. Like you did before, squeeze the knees in towards your arms. Lift your hips up into the air and puff out your kidneys, round your back body, engage your core. Take your gaze just past the front of your mat. And as you did in Warrior 3, trust your heart to hold you as you lean forward. Float your toes into the air and aim to hold the pose for a few breaths. Yeah, nice. Inhale, release, and come into a hero pose. Breathe here and reflect the energy that is flowing through you. Now we will create our crow pose one more time, however that might look for you. As you create your crow pose a second time, really feel that inner core engagement when you draw your belly button up towards the navel and puff out your back body. Stimulate that area around your third chakra, the area just above your navel. And know that when our solar plexus is balanced, we feel confident and strong, and we can positively work to achieve the goals we set out to do. Wherever you are, release your pose and come onto your back. Bend both knees, bring your feet hip-width apart, and set the foundation for your bridge pose. Lengthen out through your throat and push into the mat with the space behind your nose. And on your inhale, float your hips up towards the sky. Inhale through the nose and exhale out. Inhale to release one vertebrae at a time. With your knees still bent, take your feet as wide as your mat, and with your breath, begin to windshield wipe your knees back and forth. Drop both knees to the left and then to the right, and start to settle into your breath. As you come back to your breath, begin to straighten one leg at a time and come into a corpse pose. Take your ankles just wider than your hips and allow your toes to fall open and away from each other, totally relaxed. Place your arms next to your body with wrists just wider than your shoulders and palms facing the sky. Arms totally relaxed. Let go of your breath. Relax the space between your eyes. Release the tongue from the roof of your mouth and settle your back body deep into the mat. Stay here, totally relaxed, for the next few breaths. Begin to wiggle your fingers, your toes. Wake up your body and reach your arms up above your head, big body stretch. Roll to one side and come into a fetal position. From your fetal position, push your way up into a seated position at the top of your mat and bring your hands to the heart center. Use this time to reflect on your practice. Gain a sense of what it feels like to be strong and confident. Use a sense to recall later on when a time of confidence and strength is needed. You are strong, confident, and successful in everything that you do. Namaste.